Well, my name is Angelo Chiriba, an architect at A-Built Africa Limited, and also an interior designer, and we're also specializing in interior and furniture fit outs, office partitions, like this area that we are in, the space that we have been working on. And I'm happy to show you what we have been doing in this place. Well, this project is very interesting. It's actually a 400 meter square office space, which was given to us at A-Built Africa, and whereby we were supposed to come up with an open plan office for the employees, and two conference spaces, and regional manager's office, and the server room, the feeding room for the feeding mothers, and create also a resting place with a leather bed, and a restaurant also for the office, which is specifically for the people working here. And we are happy to do it, and I'll show you around and tell you exactly what we have been doing in this space. So as you come into this office, the first thing, or the first impression that you're seeing, is a spacious reception area where we have used natural timber to do decorations, wall decorations, in terms of wood strips, and veneer them with the veneer, like an MDF veneer that normally used to be placed on top of an MDF board, and gives you a certain color shade or whatever. So as you enter into this space, you will also find that we have an open space. It's basically open. The working environment is open, and so when you're dealing with an open space, sometimes becomes challenging into knowing how you bring harmony in the interior spacing, and painting and lighting and the art in. So I had these three columns that were exposed, and the client really needed the columns, and initially they were painted white like the rest of the building. Then we sat down with the team, and there is this beat that kept on playing in my mind, that goes like this, like a humble, 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 a humble. When you listen to that tune or rhythm, what clicks in your mind is Sahara or Africa or a safari. So in this case, I kept on seeing these lesos by the ladies here, because meandikangwa sengenge, sengenge ni ng'ombe. If you look at those lesos, they had a certain pattern in African art. So I actually simply googled African patterns and created a pattern. Took some textures, put the textures together, as you can see on the columns, and then have some colors that also represent the country, because this is Kenya. You want Africa, and you want to communicate the flag without showing the flag. So we put that. It's a tweak, something simple, but it came out unique, because the rest of the office is like it's white, and only these three columns are different from the rest of the space, and that's an inspiration about it. Then again, if you look at the furniture, the choice of the furniture, we have the white because the office, the client really wants everything white. You saw the kitchen. When you did the kitchen at the restaurant is white, and actually surprisingly, they are not acrylic, they are not timber. It is actually plain MDF. Then we spray paint it with motor paint, automotive paint, and that gave us a certain outlook of not really glossy and not really matte, but a different feeling of the kitchen space, of the kitchen boards, and it makes it look natural. Then again, also the skirting is white, the walls are white, And we had to come up with something different. If you look at the tables around, they have different shades. There's the orange, there's the yellow. It brings in some life in the space. The client's corporate colors are blue. So we came up with a carpet tile, because we have used the carpet tile, the floor. If you look at the floor, is the carpet tile and it's blue. So we searched for this carpet tile that has also some line shade of black. Looking at the window frame, the window frames that we have, the aluminium window frames that we have, the sliding windows in glass, those frames, they were gray, silver, metallic gray actually. And then we wanted to break the monotony of white, because sometimes for me, I normally feel that white gives me hospital cloud effect. So I sort of like feel like I'm falling sick when I have too much white, because I feel like I'm in a hospital room. But this one, we needed to, you know, disturb it a little bit with a shade of, you know, black windows. Now the management of the office, now the people, you know, the landlords of the space agreed or accepted or granted us that permission to spray paint the aluminium black, but not touch the external, because the external of the building has to still stand out as you're coming into this space. So when you enter into the kitchen area, we chose, you know, we used an LVT floor, which is interlocking, which is an underlay to reduce, you know, when you wear some hard shoes and you walk on a timber floor, you tend to feel some noise. So this one comes, you know, this one, it's not really a unique feature, it's normal nowadays, but it reduces the sound. So we chose this shade of, you know, timber, or, you know, it looks more pineish color of the LVT to really come out and break the white. And then if you look at the dining small set of seats, gray in color, also they tend to blend in, you know, in you know, and give you a different feel. I think you're able to understand. You can feel what I'm trying to tell you or to come up with. Then the other thing that came in was the pendulant lights. The pendulant lights that are hanging. Those ones are for the bar. You know, it's like a bar, a dining bar, a breakfast nook kind of thing that, you know, light down. So when you place the food on top of your table, and then we have the pendulant lights, you know, down lighting directly to the food, they create the ambience, and you tend to develop the appetite and you enjoy the meal that you're doing. So even in the office, every inch of this space is detailed to specification to make sure that the users enjoy, you know, staying in a working environment, because most working environments, offices, by the way, are not friendly. I've walked into so many offices and they are not user friendly. You tend to feel like you want to go home. You even get bored by your boss for no reason. It's more of like feng shui. You know, the Chinese have this thing they call feng shui. It's the feng shui brings a creation of energies, because when you design a space, you need certain kind of energies. When you're in the office, you don't need, you know, to feel like you're constrained or you feel like tired already by the time you're walking into the office. So this one space has been a different kind of space that we have been working on. And the other thing I forgot to mention, by the way, was you know, the windows, the roller blinds. Instead of using the other blinds, the other normal blinds, we use the roller blind with a different shade. It is not gray, it is not white. It's that, you know, light, I don't know, mixture of white, gray, light kind of color feel, and it is more like linen and it gives a different feel of the office. And again, it shades you the sun. When you roll it down, you don't get the sun rays, especially when you're on your computer and it is directly heated, directly rayed by the sun. It becomes, disturbing. So when you roll them, they block the direct light. Then in the kitchen, we provided the dishwasher, the microwave, the coffee maker, and the fridge. And then we've provided a 65-inch television, which is a Samsung UHD screen to sort of like entertain you guys while you're having a meal, a breakfast, or anything that you're doing within the space, or even relaxing and reading some magazine, or even it's a kitchen that you can even work in as you're in the office and finalizing the assignment, and it has enough space. So that space for me came out very nicely. So again, the other space that is unique in this office, it's you've seen the room where we've come up with a resting bed. So if you feel like you need a power nap in the office and you're tired, you take a nap at the I call it the bedroom, the office bedroom. And it's when you come out of that space after having the power nap, trust you me, even production increases. So you don't feel tired. You feel like, let me compensate for the time I slept. I go home late without charging an overtime to the client. So that was also part of the concept while we were doing it, and it came out very nicely, and it's working. The other well thought of space was the feeding room. So we came up with the feeding room, and in the feeding room we put a rolling chair, because a roller chair where you could soothe your kid or your baby, not a kid, your baby. Those breastfeeding mothers and breastfeed, we have a vanity top inside with water heated for heating, for sterilizing the munyonyi. the munyonyi for feeding the baby. You sort of unayosha na maji moto huko. So that space also came out very nicely, and we also provided a new computer to all the guys who were working at the 2016 number. And that's generally the space. Actually, at the open space, there is the ceiling, which we didn't include the gypsum. The reason for it was we wanted to minimize the white in this area and retain the natural feel of the hollow pot slab that was used by the management building, and we painted it black, just that, and then included some fan. But we have included office fans. We've also included the AC. In fact, at the server room, we've done 2 ACs of 24,000 BTU. That is 2 ACs at that specific room, to make sure that room is always in the right temperatures. And then we have an AC at all the conference rooms and the manager's room. And but for the open area, because it's open, there is enough air circulation, and the windows, you can open the window and enjoy the natural air that comes in. So there was no need for the AC in that space. So we included the office fans, which, just in case there's some little bit of some heat during the time zones, the time that we have high temperatures compared to the normal. But generally, by the way, in Kenya, we don't have, in Nairobi or in Karen, basically where we are, we don't have those high temperatures, because we have enough trees, and the temperature is different from the temperatures in the Middle East. Come on, it's different. So there's only one way to cut cost when you're trying to deal with the temperature. So we have also included safety measures, where we have the exits, emergency doors, just in case of any fire. And then we have the fire extinguishers, which is normal basic requirement. In fact, part of the statutory requirement when you're seeking for the approvals, because surprisingly, you're also supposed to submit approvals when you're doing your office partitions. Most guys don't do that. Most guys just approve when they're building their own houses. Then that's when they take the approvals to the city council. So this office for me has been an excitement, It's been like a showroom for what we can be able to do when we're doing office fit outs, office partitions, and it's come out very nicely. If you look at the spotlighting, the ceiling is simple. It doesn't have too much waves. It's just simple spaces, and this is a definition of how simple spaces can look and give that ambience. That sometimes too much doesn't come out nicely. Sometimes simple is nice and simple is sweet. So when you maintain your detail to simplicity, you tend to enjoy the spaces. As you can see, everything that we've talked about in this space is just simple. It looks basic, but it looks exquisite. If I may just click back and give just one of the basic challenges that we came across when we were building this office was, if you look at the boardroom, we've done the timber strips, which are veneered. Part of the challenge is that the headroom of this office was 3 meters. Then we took 300 down for us to do cabling, electricals, and conduits for us to be able to hide them above the ceiling and not notice it. Then we remained with 2.7 high. Then we had a challenge. The client didn't want a joint on the strip. So the board that we wanted to do were mostly MDF boards. So we visited many local suppliers who did not have the height that we wanted. So most boards that we found in our country or with our suppliers were 2.4 meters high, and our length is 2.7, and the client wants a full strip that doesn't have a joint. That was 50 by 50 mm. That thickness, we have suppliers, by the way, who sell panels, wall panels that look like timber frames, but the client didn't want that because it would have looked artificial. So they wanted a handcrafted panel. So our MDF boards that are available in the market, we were finding their heights were 2.4 meters high, and that is a solid MDF board. So later on, we found a manufacturer who has an MDF board with the same veneer that we want, actually that we've used at the reception area, that was 2.7 high. But the difference between these two boards is that this board was a particle board. So when we cut the angles that we wanted, the 45 degrees angles for us to join, to give a zero joint join on the strips, then we realize that this particle board chips off at the edges, so it gives us an ugly look, and the client wanted a complete strip. So what happened? We had to destroy that, then come up with an artificial solution of an idea where we thought of doing pine, the pine timber. Then when we get the pine timber, then we took this timber for pressing again with our manufacturer. Then remember, they've been having 2.4, so they also again cut it again into 2.4 because the pressing machine apparently would not manage the 2.7 but manage the 2.4. So that was also another challenge, and these things were costly. They were about $6,000, the cost for redoing it again. So what happened? Then we went and bought again the pine, then used contour and veneered by hand. We veneered by hand. Now that again, the challenge is that it was taking time because we also need to press with mawe, tunakelea mawe jua kali way, and press and be able to give this client the texture, the shade and the texture that he wants for his boardrooms and conferences and the reception strips. So these are things probably we could look in sometimes, I think, and maybe improve on that. Then again, the time that we had quoted 40 days to do this office. Well, we've done a little bit more because of some of those challenges. By the way, the program of works have been interrupted, which is normal, by the way. But we are giving this office with 60 days. So that means we've done 20 more days extra, and then we've done this office with 2 months. But again, half of the office, by the way, was also an office that was occupied by someone and it was partitioned. So we had to demolish. Actually, where we are at the restaurant, this was an office, so it was partitioned. So we had to demolish and come up with this restaurant. The gym area, we have a gym for just a treadmill. For when you feel tired in the office, you can be able to, you know, come and relax your muscle a little bit and your brain could function well. Then the resting area, the server room, and the feeding room, and this space that we are in, the kitchen. So this space was occupied by somebody else, so we had to demolish, put down the things they'd done, then rebuild it again. So basically, there's more I could talk about, but this has just been an exciting journey, and we're happy to hand it over. And yeah, we feel we've tried to do a perfect job, or not really a perfect job, but it's commendable and it's usable and it's functional. So thank you guys for watching. I'm Angelo Chiriba, and you can find me on Instagram at Angelo Chiriba, and Facebook again Angelo Chiriba, and our company is also on Instagram at A-Built Africa Limited, and also at Facebook at A-Built Africa Limited. And cheers, guys.